Welcome back to the Now Morning Show, where we're in Tobago for independence. At least if you are, you'd want to find out how they are celebrating. So this morning, to give us some insight into the planned event in Tobago, Annmarie Degazon, the Policy Director for Performance Management at the Office of the Chief Secretary, joins us here on the Now. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, and thanks for having me this morning.
It is definitely necessary because this independence, there are a number of things that we can do across Trinidad and Tobago. And so giving us some insight into how the rollout will be effectively done, I'd like to start with the core values that you are trying to engender amongst the people of Tobago. We are talking about praying, we are talking about celebration of ourselves. How will that start off?
Well, independence is always a happy time. And, it should be. It gives you that kind of warm feeling. And, when you have that, it's difficult to really celebrate that alone. So when you think independence, it's synonymous with people, it's synonymous with community, togetherness, camaraderie, citizenship, belonging, all of those things. And so for this independence, it really affords us the opportunity to explore that fully. And so in Tobago, we're focused on not only a day of prayer, but community and celebration, ensuring that it's a time for reflection, for sober thinking, growth, development.
In terms of the day, though, it is pretty jam-packed, and the theme that we are exploring this year is a day of prayer, community, and celebration. Let's, step by step, go through the very first event to begin that day.
Right. So the day starts off with a road race, a 5K marathon that's going to take us through the streets of Scarborough, bringing people out. We're working with some of our sporting organizations on the island, and we're encouraging people and family to come out and to participate. In fact, it's open, so even if you're not a professionally trained athlete, we're encouraging you to come out and to join the run. And really, maybe symbolically, it's the freedom, the letting go. You'll be running along the coast of Scarborough, so you have the warm morning sea breeze. We start that off at about 6 a.m. We flow straight into a cycling. Tobago is a buzz for cycling. And so we will have all age group categories following immediately after at 7 a.m. with 5K, 10K, I think even 20K, people doing laps around the city, enjoying the scenery and also the warmth of togetherness. So those are the two start-off events. We move right into joining with our community organization, civil society organization, in continuing the tradition of the morning regatta. It starts just about 11 a.m. and we have all the power boats, the jet skis out on the esplanade. And we're encouraging, yes, all of the family to come down and to join with us. So the regatta will take place between 11 and 3. And during that period, we have some interesting things that we have added to the morning mix. I think it will be the first time that you will probably see our goats running on the roadway. I've not seen it before, but we are bringing that into the blend. So we have some exciting goat race taking place right on the esplanade. We will, of course, have pan, all of the national symbols and the things that are significant that make Tobago happening on the esplanade. And of course, we are inviting our vendors to come down with all of the local cuisine that we have.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Annmarie, because these are events that are happening that require registration for participants. And then in terms of observance, if they have any stipulated spaces to be in, I'd like you to give me some guidance on how persons can be part of it, both as spectators and participants. So starting
Right.
with the
So I'll
5K, is
start off
registration
with
still open?
the registration for the participants. So for the races, registration start at 5 a.m. on the Esplanade at the Rotunda.
Mm-hmm.
And for the cycling, you will have your registration between 6:30 and 7 a.m. So it's on the day registration.
Okay.
And we are ready to accommodate anyone who wants to participate.
Are there
For
any sort
persons
of
who are
costs attached to the...
spectating,
I'm sorry.
there is absolutely no cost to the registration.
Nice.
No
Important
cost. So,
questions.
so we've eliminated all of the barriers that you may have. This is independence, it's freedom, it's community,
Love
it's
it.
unity, it's celebration. So there's no cost to registration, and we have several age group categories. So it means persons who are even under 13 can participate in some of these events. So we are encouraging you to come out. No limitations, no restrictions.
So what
For
happens
spectators,
with the regatta?
well, the regatta, that one is pre-registered because
Mm-hmm.
we're talking about the power boat. So these are the experienced people who will be out there on the sea. We have all of the safety measures in place because this is something that happens annually in Tobago right after the Independence Parade. So the tradition continues because we felt that it is an important part of what we do for Tobago in independence.
Of course. Where spectators are concerned, where should they assemble for the best visual?
Well, the good thing about it is that the Esplanade has this beautiful long stretch that people can be. So we're saying all along that route, all of the events, the races start at the Esplanade and they end at the Esplanade. But of course, it will go around the highway back into Scarborough. So all along that route, in fact, persons can gather, but we are encouraging you for safety purposes, probably come more into Scarborough. Along Wilson Road, you will see both the cycling and the marathon passing along that way. So there is enough space for persons to gather on the seafront. And so we're encouraging you to use the full length of the Esplanade and along Wilson Road so that you can view the races that are happening.
Sounds
Please
good.
try to get in early and utilize the car parks. There are several car parks littered around Scarborough. So you can utilize them from uptown or lower downtown by the food hub, even that car park, or at the cultural complex. There's lots of parking there available. So we are asking persons to park on the outskirts a little bit. Traffic will not be closed off for the day, but we are
Mm-hmm.
working with all of our protective services to ensure that it's a safe period, but it will not be an obstruction to persons who are doing their normal business
Easily.
activity on a Sunday morning. But if you
Fantastic.
know Tobago, on a Sunday morning is a quiet time.
Good planning. Now, Annmarie, you
Yes.
did mention activities for the individuals, even those who are a little competitive and spectators. How are we doing that prayer and community aspect of the observance?
Right. Well, that is the highlight of the day, really. And because Tobago is normally a very prayerful, church going, community, at first I would let you in. We thought about having it early in the morning, but it just won't work. Our services will continue normally on the island, and many of the churches have already planned their individual prayer and
Right.
worship service in recognition of Independence Day. So that will be happening regularly at most of our churches across the island. But at 3 p.m., we gather together. Everyone is going to descend on the Shore Park complex, and we're having a massive interfaith service. We will have quite a lot of music, praise, and worship, and several of our ministers across the various faiths will be leading us out in prayer, proclamation of the word, and so that's a huge convocation that is going to take place at the Esplanade. It is open to the public, and we are inviting all religious denominations to join with us for that prayer, reflection, and worship.
What time does this event
Oh,
start,
the chief
Annmarie?
secretary is also expected to present or to speak at that. Um, and he will, of course, bringing the significance of reminding us in relation to the importance of independence and the celebration that we are recognizing as an island.
Is this the way then that the day will wrap up for independence celebrations?
Oh no, in Tobago, we go a little over extra sometimes, right? So the celebration continues. So the service is from 3 to 5 p.m.
Right.
And then we are linking with another traditional, exciting thing that normally happens at Independence. We have a lot of our religious organizations, again, faith based organizations, come together for a grand gospel concert. It's the Lime. So you can't miss the Lime. The
Can't miss
Lime
the
is going
line.
to take place at the amphitheater close to the library in Scarborough again, and that starts at 6 p.m. and they go until. So it's another version of our praise and worship,
Right.
but it's going to be many of our top gospel artists will be performing at the Lime, and it usually draws a huge amount of young persons for various genres of gospel music at the Lime.
And we
But
have
that's
just
not all.
about a few seconds left, but I know that there's also an open air movie night. Are there any sorts of ticket
Oh,
requirements or registration required for that final event?
yes, there is absolutely no registration. It's an open family event. And this is where we're asking you to bring everybody: auntie, granny, nene, tanty, grandpa, the little children. Come out. We want you to bring your blankets, bring your seating. We're going to be in the Botanic Gardens. Very scenic, we're sitting on the greens to watch an exciting movie. We're not letting the bag out on the movie, but we're sure that you will like it. But it's not just about the movie, it really is still about the community. It's about us coming together. It is about unity and celebration and recognizing we're free people. That's what independence means to us. But our freedom means that, yes, we can do what we want, but we're choosing at this time to come together as a people. Yes.
Well, we
So the
do hope
movies
that
will
people.
take place and
Mhm.
then we come back. So both events will be happening, the gospel show, and they're right next to one another. But it will be an excitement how we are managing that. But we're working collaboratively to ensure so that you can jump over, watch a piece of the movie, jump into the gospel concert, and we have that kind of synergy that is going to be
Something for
happening in the
everybody, it
capital
sounds
city.
like. Annmarie, thank you very much for joining us this morning and giving us that insight. And of course, you guys, if you need more information, you can head to the social media pages for the THE to get that full calendar, plan your independence, and celebrate in Tobago. We've got more after these messages here on The Now.